The Wall Street Journal says Beijing has cordoned off sprawling offshore areas between China, Japan and Korea, a move that usually precedes military activity. Airspace alerts have reportedly been issued for waters in the Yellow and East China Seas for 40 days, ending on May 6th. China typically issues these alerts for shorter periods before conducting major military exercises, but has offered no explanation in this case. The restricted areas are hundreds of kilometers north of Taiwan. Civilian air traffic can still pass through, but will need to coordinate with Chinese authorities. It comes during a period of rising tensions between Beijing and Tokyo. For more on what these no-fly zones could mean, our reporter Lery spoke to Ray Powell, Executive Director of the SeaLight Foundation, an organisation tracking unlawful maritime activity in the region.
What do you think is the intention behind these NOTAMs, these restricted areas? Is it about upcoming military exercises, or is this just signaling to people?
We're all just guessing because they're not telling us. One very distinct possibility is they're just trying to create a new normal. They're just trying to create a precedent for having these long periods of restricted airspace that are off their coast, in international airspace. Really a long period of time, 40 days, surface to unlimited, so a lot of space. And it makes you wonder if they're just trying to condition us all to accept that this is something that they'll do from time to time and that we should just get used to it.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by establishing a new normal? How does this establish a new normal, and what does that mean moving forward?
If China can take certain steps to just sort of normalize kind of a new level of security around its own East Coast and doesn't have to explain itself, then when it is escalating, it'll be harder for those countries to figure out, is this real? Is it something else? Is it an exercise? Is it preparation for an operation? It also sort of lowers our resistance to future escalations. Just a simple démarche, it's a diplomatic note saying that we reject this kind of ambiguous airspace restriction that without any kind of obvious cause. This seems like an escalatory event, something to that effect, just to let China know that we notice and we don't like it. If you just sort of let it pass unremarked upon, then the next time they do it, maybe even a little more.
What do you think motivated China to make this decision right now? Is this about the U.S.-Philippines joint military exercise coming up at the end of the month? Is this about tensions with Japan? Or is this about something else?
I don't think I go that far, just because the timing is, it's sort of interesting, but it's not a clear overlap. It will be very interesting to see how China reacts to Balikatan this year, as it is every year. A lot of it is signaling, and it's also establishing the idea that we, Beijing, have control. This is our sphere of influence, and we are going to control what happens here. And you see these things happen, for example, with the tightening of the Coast Guard patrols around Taiwan, for example, or the increase in maritime militia numbers, or the recent lining up of all those fishing boats off the coast. These things all just sort of set a precedent that when it's within China's sphere of influence, they're going to do these things.
That was SeaLight Foundation's Ray Powell.